There are 30 total origins in the AfterLife SMP, and today I'll be running through all the ones currently in use by players as well as some of the other ones that are possibly still in the server. Hi, I'm 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼. I cover a lot of Minecraft mods, predominantly things to do with the Origins mod, so if you're interested in more Origin related content, check out my channel for more. Either way, let's get started. So starting off with the mods that I do know that are possibly in there when it comes to Origins, we have the default vanilla Origins mod, because of course that's going to be necessary, and then we've also got the extra Origins mod. These are the two mods that I know are most likely in there, mainly because all the mods from extra Origins, half of them are already in use by players, and the other half of them have been shown in a few of the different screenshots from the few people who did show off all the Origins currently involved. But to also add on top of that, you've also got a collection of cool custom Origins as well. One thing to keep in mind is that both 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼, 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓰, and FWhip have died in the most recent set of episodes, and their next Origins are yet to be revealed, so you might find out more about that over the coming days. Starting off with the vanilla Origins, or the Origins that come with the Origin mod itself, we have the mythical sausage, who is an elytran. The elytran always has the elytra attached to their body at all times, can launch themselves into the air every 30 seconds, will deal extra damage whilst they're gliding around with their elytra, and can only wear leather, gold, or chainmail armor. You also take extra damage from falling or hitting blocks while you're gliding, and is also weak in enclosed spaces by giving weakness and slowness attached to you when you're in a place for too long. Moving on to smallish beings, the smallish beings is the 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼 Origin. The 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼 Origin is immune to fire and lava, gets stronger when you're on fire, is also immune to poison and hunger, but will spawn in the Nether by default and also takes damage from water. Ironically though, the Nether spawn is kind of defunct because of the fact he spawned in the overworld to start off the world with a fresh origin, so we might see it used when he does die for the first time, or maybe not. We then have Joey, who is the 𝓻𝓱 Origin. The 𝓻𝓱 Origin has 9 extra inventory slots that can be triggered with your primary ability. The slots in this inventory slot will not be dropped upon death. You also have natural bonus armor points. You can also break stone with your bare hands, but you cannot use a shield, and you also require more food over a longer period of time as your hunger burns up quicker than the average person. One of the more interesting questions that comes around with the 𝓻𝓱 Origin though is what happens when he does die. Whilst the items inside of his inventory slots, the extra ones, won't get dropped, will he be able to access again when he gets his origin randomized to something else? Will those 9 inventory slots of items get lost permanently because his origin will be swapped before he can potentially retrieve the items? Guess that's one thing that we'll find out soon enough. We then have the 𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓴𝓼 sound with the 𝓵𝓷𝓰𝓼 Origin. The 𝓵𝓵𝓰𝓼 Origin can use ender pearls without actually having any with your primary ability. You also have a longer reach than the natural human being, but you also take damage from water, as well as you're slightly afraid of pumpkins itself. Mainly whenever someone is actually wearing the pumpkins on their heads, and not really in most other circumstances. And then we have Lawrence side with the 𝓵𝓰𝓼 Origin. The 𝓵𝓰𝓼 Origin is a slow falling origin that moves slightly faster than average, will lay an egg every time you sleep in a bed and wake up, but you have to sleep at higher altitudes than normal, roughly around 60 something block, but you cannot eat meat as you're a vegetarian. Overall, the 𝓵𝓰𝓼 Origin is just kind of one of those lackluster ones that don't really do too many different changes aside from making you slightly faster than the average player, with the disadvantage of most of the foods you want to eat normally kind of null and voided. Those are all the vanilla origins currently in use, but there are a few other ones. We've got the Merling, Phantom, the Arachnid, and the Feline that are also there available for use as well. If you want to know more about those abilities, there are multiple other videos that will cover those ones. But moving on to our extra origins, we first have Catherine, which is using the 𝓵𝓿 Origin. The 𝓵𝓿 Origin can bone meal plants at the cost of their food. You've also got photosynthesis, meaning that you can actually absorb food from the sun. You can also deal extra damage whenever you're wet, but you'll take bonus damage when you're on fire, but you can only heat honey as well, of course, but you can still get hunger from the natural sun itself. We then have Strawberry Plays, who is the Truffle Origin. The Truffle Origin can use different spores, red for offensive, green for defense, and blue for mobility. Switching spores weakens the others a bit. You can also turn soil blocks into mycelium at the cost of your food hunger bar, and you can also spawn special spore buffs whilst you're on mycelium, attack speed with red, knockback resistance with jump with green, and jump boost with blue, but no status effects can be gotten from any form of food. This is both good and bad at the same time, as it means that you won't get poison from something such as a pufferfish, or hunger from raw chicken or rotten flesh, but it also means you don't get the bonus effects that come from, let's say, eating a golden apple. The other two origins that are also in the extra origins pack that are currently not used is the Inchling and the Pigling origins. If you want to know more about those ones, I've covered the extra origins mod in a video in depth in the past if you want to go look out for that one. Next though, we have our more custom origins. These are ones that are either added in via custom data packs or custom mod puts. These are either collected from the general Origins Discord server community, which have thousands upon thousands of awesome custom origins, and even though if these ones don't come directly from the Origins Discord themselves, you can find very similar ones in there as well, or these are potentially custom made by other modders that they've hired or paid to do these cool origins for them. First we have Scott, aka that's a long name, with the Muffling origin. The Muffling can flutter while in the air, can regenerate whilst near a lantern, but is also smaller with less health, gets mining fatigues around solar lanterns, cannot wear anything better than 3/4 of an iron suit of armor and something else, and can only eat leather and rabbit hide. Overall, people in the community kind of consider it to be a stronger Elytron, but I disagree with that stance, as it's more of a custom flight origin that has a lot more differences than just being a better Elytron. Moving on to Solidarity, he is currently the Thornling origin before he died in his most recent episode. The Thornling origin has the Thorns aura, takes less damage than a suit of full Thorn 3 armor, is 1.4 blocks tall, will wither when wearing any armor other than typical gold armor, has less health and deals less damage, and is afflicted with wither when is wearing / holding or is hit by any form of cursed item, whether it be Cursed of Binding or Cursed of Vanishing. Again, he is one of the few people that has recently died in the actual server itself, so his origin is definitely destined to change. Next we have Gemini T with the Villager origin. The Villager origin has the ability to summon an Iron Golem, can run away from danger fast, and will always have Hero of the Village 5 at all times. But the biggest thing to come along with it is that you always have to sleep at night, otherwise there will be consequences. Next we have F-Whip or Fwhip, depending on how you prefer to say it, who is currently the Illusioner origin. But the Illusioner origin has the ability to blind foes, bows are stronger and you can shoot an arrow from your bare hands, pillagers are passive towards you, and you can enter Phantom form and become invisible if you have enough hunger to sprint. But the con of this is you're also hated by Iron Golems and villagers, meaning that Iron Golems will attack you on sight. Next we have 𝓵𝓷𝓷𝓴𝓼 or Lizzie, who is currently the Raccoon origin, but again, her origin is set to change in the next episode she releases, as she's also recently died in the most recent episode. But the Raccoon origin has the ability to eat rotten flesh and is benefited by that, and is also immune to the hunger debuffs that it can give. The Raccoon also has increased night vision, can run for extra fast for a certain time frame but is weakened directly afterwards, can climb up to blocks and is also 1.4 blocks tall, has reduced fall damage but also has only 7 hearts, can go invisible for a few seconds but is also weakened and poisoned after this ability. You are also uncomfortable in areas with high ceilings, gaining roughly around the same debuffs as what an Elytron would do in their confined spaces, and you also cannot sleep whatsoever. Next we have Shovel with the Shadowcrawler origin. The Shadowcrawler can warp 15 blocks ahead, will also get night vision and buffs whilst in the shade, does not need to eat, is semi-transparent, and is blinded by light and debuffed in the light. Moving on, we have CPK, who is currently the Giant origin. Now, quick correction from earlier, I did say F-Whip was the one who died. No, F-Whip killed CPK, which was referenced in one of the chat messages in one of the most recent episodes. So whilst he's currently the Giant origin, this is subject to change whenever he reveals it in another episode. But the Giant origin is 4 blocks tall and 2 blocks wide, has 2 times the health and 2 times the oxygen whilst in water, deals more damage and knockback, has extra reach and double jump height than normal, takes less fall damage and knockback, mines faster but doesn't slip on ice as well, leather armor gives as much protection as iron armor, he has a slam attack and can be ridden by non-giants. He also can be levitated but cannot use an Elytra or a Riptide Triton, he gets hungry faster than normal, his attack speed slower, he cannot use bows or crossbows, falls faster than normal, cannot swim and cannot ride animals, boats or minecarts, takes triple the damage from spiders, cave spiders, silverfish, endermites and bees, and needs 4 beds to actually sleep. Next we have Mika, which is currently the Candy origin. The Candy origin makes cakes and cookies from just sugar, can eat sugar for buffs, can get a resistance with their ability, has bonus saturation from cookies, making cookies far more useful than normal, starts off with some sugary sweet stuff, takes damage from salt water and the rain, and can only eat sweet foods. There are other custom origins involved in this modded server thus far that are currently known, such as the Kangaroo origin, which can be seen briefly skimmed over in Scott's video, and there are also a collection of around 16 to 17 different custom origins, most of which we don't know anything about as of yet, but we'll find out over the length of the series. Either way, if you did enjoy this informative video, make sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe, and click this video on screen now to check out some more Origin mod related content. Goodbye!